There is a corner in every home that holds your favorite memory. For me, it was the small kitchen in our Portland apartment, where Amanda and I used to cook breakfast every Sunday morning. I would flip pancakes while she made coffee, and we would laugh about nothing in particular. That apartment was not just walls and furniture. It was 4 years of building a life together. The couch we found at a thrift store. The herb garden on our tiny balcony. Those yellow sticky notes she would leave on the fridge with little hearts and inside jokes. This place was ours. Every corner held a memory. But home is not just walls and furniture. Sometimes it is the battlefield where love dies. The day Amanda told me to leave was the day I realized she never understood what partnership meant. So I did exactly what she asked. I left. But I made sure she would remember those words forever. Before I tell you how this story unfolded, I want to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments below. If you have ever felt disrespected in your own relationship, hit that like button. And subscribe, because stories like this need to be heard. Trust me, what happened next will make you question everything you thought you knew about standing your ground. Let us get into it. I met Amanda 5 years ago at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. She was a graphic designer with this incredible smile and a laugh that made everyone around her feel lighter. I was working as a project manager for a tech company, and somehow, between her creative chaos and my structured world, we just clicked. We got married after 2 years of dating, and that first year of marriage was everything I had hoped for. We would go hiking every weekend, cook dinner together on weeknights, and fall asleep talking about our dreams. She had this habit of sleeping in while I would wake up early to make coffee for both of us. It was our rhythm, and it worked. Financially, we split things based on our income. I made more, so I covered about 70% of our expenses, while she handled the remaining 30%. It felt fair, and neither of us complained. We found our apartment together, a 2-bedroom place on the 3rd floor with a balcony overlooking a small park. The rent was $1,200 a month. I signed the lease because my credit score was better, and at the time it did not seem like a big deal. Amanda was not on the lease, but she was my wife. What did it matter whose name was on the paperwork? We decorated every room together. We hung our wedding photos on the wall. We picked out furniture piece by piece, turning that empty space into something that felt like us. Then Linda started showing up more often. Linda was Amanda's mother, 58 years old, widowed 3 years prior, and living alone in Eugene, about 2 hours away. At first she seemed pleasant enough, though I always felt something was slightly off. She would call Amanda 3 or 4 times a day, which seemed excessive to me, but I kept my mouth shut. Family is important, right? Then the visits increased. Once a month became twice a month, and before I knew it, Linda was at our place every other weekend. She would sit in my favorite chair, criticize the way Amanda kept the house, and occasionally make little comments about me. Once she looked at our leaky faucet and said, "Harvey, you should be fixing that. A real man takes care of his home." I bit my tongue. I told myself she was just old-fashioned and trying to help. Then one evening in March, everything changed. Amanda came home looking worried, and I knew something was wrong before she even spoke. She sat down next to me on the couch and told me that Linda was having financial trouble. Her landlord in Eugene had raised the rent from $800 to $1,200, and with her pension barely covering $1,000 a month, she could not afford it. Amanda looked at me with those pleading eyes and said, "Mom needs to stay with us for a few weeks, just until she figures things out." I wanted to be supportive. I wanted to be the understanding husband. So I said, "Of course, babe. Family comes first. A few weeks is fine." We had a spare bedroom that I used as a home office, so I figured we could make it work temporarily. I even suggested helping Linda find an affordable studio apartment nearby. Amanda agreed and said it was just a temporary solution. I believed her. The day Linda moved in, I drove 2 hours to Eugene to help load her belongings. She had 3 large suitcases, several boxes, and even a small antique dresser she insisted on bringing. I rearranged the spare room, moved my desk into a corner of the living room, and tried to make her feel welcome. That first night I thought maybe it would not be so bad. But by the second day I noticed things changing. Linda reorganized our refrigerator without asking. She threw out my craft beer collection, saying it took up too much space and that I drank too much anyway. I tried to stay calm. I told her I would keep the beer in the garage instead, even though it annoyed me that she felt entitled to make decisions about my belongings. Amanda just shrugged and said her mom was trying to help organize. That should have been my first warning sign. By the end of the first week, Linda had essentially taken over the kitchen. She would start cooking at 5 in the evening and occupy the entire space for hours. I would come home from work tired and hungry, only to find I could not use my own kitchen to make the dinner I wanted. Linda would look at me and say, "Harvey, you should eat healthier anyway. Amanda says you snack too much at night." I felt my jaw tighten, but I swallowed my frustration. My home office was gone. My kitchen access was limited. My privacy was disappearing. But I kept telling myself it was only temporary. A few weeks. I could handle a few weeks. 3 weeks passed. Then 4. I asked Amanda if her mom had looked at any apartments yet. She gave me a vague answer about the market being tough. I pushed a little harder, reminding her we had agreed this was temporary. Amanda got defensive immediately. "Are you seriously complaining about my mom staying here? She has nowhere else to go." I felt the ground shift beneath me. This was not the conversation I expected. I told her I was not complaining, just asking for a timeline. But Amanda made me feel guilty for even bringing it up. The tension grew worse. One Friday evening, I came home to find 4 women I had never met sitting in our living room. Linda had invited her book club over without asking us. I was exhausted from a long day at work, and suddenly my living room was filled with strangers. I greeted them politely and retreated to the bedroom, but inside I was furious. After they left, I confronted Amanda. I told her it was unacceptable for her mom to invite people over without asking. Amanda looked at me like I was being unreasonable. "Oh my God, Harvey. They were here for 2 hours. What is the big deal?" I could not believe what I was hearing. "The big deal is this is our home and she is treating it like hers," I said. Amanda crossed her arms. "She lives here now. She has every right to have friends over." I froze. "Wait," I said slowly. "She lives here. I thought this was temporary." Amanda went quiet for a moment, then said defensively, "Where else is she supposed to go?" I felt something break inside me. "An apartment," I said. "Like we discussed. She has been here 2 months, Amanda." Amanda raised her voice. "So what? She is family." That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I realized Amanda had never intended for this to be temporary. Linda was here to stay, and I had no say in the matter. The second month of Linda living with us was when I truly started to feel like a stranger in my own home. Every morning I had to wait at least 30 minutes to use the bathroom, because Linda took forever getting ready. My home office was gone, which meant I had to work from coffee shops, spending an extra $30 a day just to have a quiet place to focus. The grocery bills skyrocketed from $300 to $550 a month. The utility bills climbed because Linda ran the air conditioning all day and took 2 showers daily. I was paying for everything, and the extra costs were adding up to about $300 a month that I had not budgeted for. I tried to talk to Amanda about it. I approached her carefully one evening and said, "Should we talk to your mom about splitting some costs? She has been here 2 months." Amanda looked at me like I had suggested something horrible. "She is on a fixed income, Harvey. Are you really that selfish?" I felt my frustration boiling over. I am not selfish, I said. I am paying for everything. We are not a charity, Amanda shot back. She is my mother. What do you want me to do? Kick her out. I took a deep breath. I want her to contribute or find her own place, like we discussed. But nothing changed. In fact, things got worse. Amanda spent all her free time with Linda. They cooked together, watched movies together, went shopping together. I felt like a third wheel in my own marriage. Our intimate life disappeared completely. Amanda was always too tired or said Linda might hear us. I tried to be patient, but I was losing my wife to her mother, and nobody seemed to care how I felt. Then one evening I came home and noticed something was missing. Our wedding photos were gone from the wall. I found Linda in the living room and asked her where they were. She said casually, I put them in the closet. They made the wall look cluttered. Something inside me snapped. You have no right to touch our personal things. I said, my voice louder than I intended. Linda looked unbothered. I am just trying to make this place look better. I turned to Amanda, who was sitting on the couch. Are you hearing this? Your mom just took down our wedding photos. Amanda sighed like I was being dramatic. Harvey, calm down. I am sure she did not mean anything by it. That night I told Amanda we needed to have a serious conversation. I sat her down and said, Amanda, your mom needs to leave. This is not working. She looked at me coldly. She is not going anywhere. I felt my hands clench. This is my apartment, I said. I signed the lease. I pay 70% of everything. Amanda stood up, her face red. So what? You think that gives you the right to kick my mom out? I tried to keep my voice steady. It gives me the right to have a say in who lives in my home. Amanda's eyes narrowed, and what she said next changed everything. If you do not like my mom moving in, you can leave. The room went silent. I stared at her, not sure I had heard correctly. What did you just say? She repeated it slower this time, making sure I understood every word. If you do not like my mom living here, you can leave. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. 4 years of marriage, 4 years of partnership, and she was telling me to leave. Linda appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. That is right, Harvey. Nobody is forcing you to stay. I looked around the apartment. I thought about all the memories we had built here. I thought about the lazy Sunday mornings and the late-night conversations and the plans we had made for our future. And in that moment I realized none of it mattered to her. She had chosen her mother over me. She had chosen her mother over our marriage. And she expected me to just accept it. I stood up slowly and I said the words that I knew would change everything. Okay, I will leave. Amanda looked surprised, like she had expected me to back down and apologize. But I kept my voice calm and cold. You told me to leave. So I will. But Amanda, this apartment, it is in my name. The lease is in my name. And if I leave, you leave too. Her face went pale. What are you talking about? I walked into the bedroom and grabbed a copy of the lease agreement. I came back and handed it to her. See, only my name. You wanted me gone. Fine, but I am not leaving this apartment to you. Amanda's hand shook as she read the document. Harvey, you are being ridiculous. You cannot just... Cannot what? I interrupted. Exercise my legal right. You told me to leave Amanda. You chose your mother over me. Linda tried to sound confident. He is bluffing, honey. I looked directly at Linda. Am I? I walked to the bedroom and packed an overnight bag with some clothes and essentials. Amanda followed me, panic creeping into her voice. Harvey, wait. Let us talk about this. I zipped up my bag. I tried to talk. For 2 months. You made your choice. I walked toward the door, and before I left, I turned back to look at both of them one last time. You have 30 days. That is how much notice Mr. Patterson requires. Figure out where you and your mom will go." Then I walked out and closed the door behind me. I could hear Amanda start to cry through the door. I heard Linda say, "Do not worry, baby. He will come crawling back. Men always do." But I did not look back. I got in my car and drove to a motel for the night. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The next morning, I called Mr. Patterson, the landlord. He was a 72-year-old retired veteran who had always been fair with me. I told him I needed to terminate my lease due to personal circumstances. I did not go into all the details, but I made it clear I was serious. Mr. Patterson sounded sympathetic. "Sorry to hear that, Harvey. You have been a good tenant for 4 years. 30 days notice per the contract." I confirmed that I understood and that the apartment would be empty by the 15th of the next month. He asked about my wife, and I told him she was not on the lease, so yes, everyone would be out. He accepted my notice without any issues. Next, I called Jake, my best friend and a lawyer. We met at a bar that evening, and I explained the entire situation. Jake looked at me seriously and asked, "Man, are you sure about this? This is nuclear." I told him I was sure. She told me to leave. She picked her mother over me. What else am I supposed to do? Jake reviewed my lease agreement and confirmed I was legally in the clear. "You are the sole tenant. You can terminate." But then he warned me, "Harvey, this is your wife. This will end your marriage." I looked him in the eye. "It is already over, Jake. She just does not know it yet." Jake nodded slowly. "Okay, then let me help you do this right." I sent a formal written notice to Mr. Patterson via certified mail, making everything official. I also sent a copy to Amanda through both email and text message. The email was brief and to the point. "Amanda, as per the lease agreement, I have terminated the rental contract effective 30 days from today. You and your mother need to find alternative accommodation. This is not a negotiation." Amanda called me 23 times in the next 2 hours. I did not answer. She sent text after text. "Harvey, please pick up. We need to talk." I finally replied with one message. "There is nothing to talk about. You made your choice." She texted back frantically. I did not mean it. I was just angry. I typed my response carefully. "Actions have consequences, Amanda. You told me to leave. So I am. And I am taking the apartment with me." Over the next few days, I heard through mutual friends that Amanda and Linda were panicking. They started looking for apartments, but the market in Portland was brutal. 2-bedroom apartments were going for at least $1,600, and landlords wanted first month last month and a security deposit up front. That meant they needed nearly $5,000 just to move in. Amanda had about $2,000 in savings. Linda had almost nothing. Amanda tried to negotiate with Mr. Patterson. She called him and asked if she could take over the lease. He told her that I had been his tenant for 4 years and the lease was in my name. If I was leaving, he was relisting the unit. Amanda asked if she could apply for it, and Mr. Patterson explained that he had a waiting list of 10 people willing to pay $1,400 for the apartment. The market had gone up. They were priced out. Linda tried a different approach. She called me directly, and I made the mistake of answering. "Harvey, honey, can we talk? I think there has been a misunderstanding." I kept my voice flat. "There is no misunderstanding, Linda. You treated my home like yours. Now you can find your own." She switched tactics and tried to guilt me. "How can you do this to your wife? To family?" I almost laughed. "You should have thought about that before you took over my life." Linda's voice turned angry. "You are a selfish, ungrateful man." I hung up. Even Amanda's father, Richard, got involved. Richard had been divorced from Linda for years, and I always got along with him. He called me one afternoon, and his voice was gentle. Harvey, I heard what is happening. Look, I know Linda can be difficult, but do not punish Amanda for this. I respected Richard, so I heard him out. Amanda chose her mother over me. She literally told me to leave. He sighed deeply. I know Linda probably pushed her to that. Linda has been impossible since our divorce. But kid, think about your marriage. I told him honestly. I have. It is over. By week 3, reality was hitting Amanda and Linda hard. I had already moved out completely. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment across town for $900 a month. It was smaller and simpler, but it was mine. I hired movers and took all the furniture I had purchased, which was most of it. I left behind the old sofa Amanda had bought before we met and the kitchen table we had purchased together. The apartment looked hollow without my belongings. When Amanda came home from work and saw that my stuff was gone, she broke down crying. Linda tried to stay strong and told her they would figure it out, maybe even sue me. Amanda yelled at her. For what it is, his apartment. I never signed the lease, Linda responded dismissively. Well, that was stupid of you. That comment sparked a huge fight between them. Amanda screamed that this was Linda's fault, that if she had not pushed so hard, I would not have left. Linda got defensive and said, I am your mother. You should choose me over some man. Amanda was in tears. He is not some man. He is my husband, and now I am losing him and my home. Linda tried to brush it off. Stop being so dramatic. We will find a place. Amanda asked the question that had no good answer. With what money, Mom? I have $2,000. That is barely enough for a deposit. With only 5 days left before the deadline, Amanda found a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,300 a month, but it required $3,900 up front. She swallowed her pride and called her father, begging for help. Richard sent her $1,500, saying it was all he could spare. She was still short by $1,400. By day 3 before the move-out date, Linda finally admitted that maybe she should look into senior housing. Amanda researched it only to find waiting lists of 6 months to a year. Amanda cried and told her mother, "We are going to be homeless." On the morning of day 30, Mr. Patterson arrived at the apartment with the new tenants, a young couple excited to move in. Amanda and Linda were still surrounded by boxes, frantically trying to pack the last of their belongings. Mr. Patterson looked uncomfortable but firm. "Ladies, the new tenants are here. You need to be out by noon." Amanda begged for more time, just a few more hours. Mr. Patterson shook his head. "I gave you 30 days. I am sorry, but I have to hand over the keys." They loaded what they could into Amanda's car, but they could not fit everything. Some furniture had to be left behind. Linda was crying, saying she could not believe this was happening. Amanda looked numb, like she was moving through a nightmare. She tried one last time to reach me. She called Jake and asked if he knew where I was. Jake told her gently that I did not want to talk and that I had moved on. Amanda's voice broke. "We have nowhere to go, Jake." Jake hesitated, then said something that must have hurt her. "That is not Harvey's problem anymore." "I am sorry." Amanda and Linda ended up checking into a motel that night. It cost $85 per night for a small room with 2 double beds and peeling wallpaper. Linda sat on the edge of one bed and asked how long they could afford this. Amanda did the math. Maybe 2 weeks. Then I do not know. That evening I drove past the apartment complex. I saw the lights on in what used to be my home. I saw the new tenants moving their furniture in. I felt a strange mixture of satisfaction and sadness. I had given Amanda respect, partnership, and love. She had thrown it all away. I said quietly to myself, I gave her respect. She threw it away. Then I drove to my new apartment, small but peaceful, and I finally felt like I could relax. 2 months later, my life had settled into a new rhythm. My apartment was not as nice as the old one, but it was mine. I decorated it the way I wanted with navy blue accents and simple wood furniture. There was no drama, no walking on eggshells, no one criticizing my choices or moving my things. I cooked when I wanted. I watched television when I wanted. I worked from home in peace. The first few weeks were hard, I will admit. There were nights I could not sleep, wondering if I had overreacted. But then I would remember her words. If you do not like it, you can leave. She had given me an ultimatum, and I had simply taken it seriously. Jake helped me get back into a routine. We started going to the gym together, and I reconnected with friends I had neglected during my marriage. I met up with old college buddies, went hiking again, attended basketball games. Slowly, I started to feel like myself. I was not angry anymore. I was just free. Through mutual friends, I learned what happened to Amanda and Linda. Amanda eventually found a shared housing situation. She was renting a single room in a house with 3 other roommates for $750 a month. It was a massive downgrade from our 2-bedroom apartment with a balcony. She had to share a bathroom and kitchen with strangers. Linda could not live with her in that situation, so they had to separate. Linda finally got into subsidized senior housing in the suburbs. From what I heard, Linda resented Amanda for how things turned out, and their relationship became strained. Linda blamed Amanda for letting this happen, even though it was Linda's behavior that caused it all. 3 months after I left, Amanda filed for divorce. She wanted half of everything, but there was not much to split. We had rented, so there was no property. We had no children. We kept separate bank accounts. The only joint account we had contained about $8,000, which we split evenly. I kept my car, my furniture, and my savings. The legal process was straightforward and relatively drama-free. We had to meet one final time to sign the divorce papers at the lawyer's office. Amanda looked exhausted and sad. When we sat down across from each other, she said quietly, "Harvey, I am sorry. I did not think you would actually leave." I looked at her and said, "That is the problem, Amanda. You did not think I had a backbone. You took me for granted." She looked down. "I loved you." I nodded. Love means partnership. It means respect. You chose your mom's comfort over our relationship. She did not have a response. She knew I was right. We signed the papers in silence, and then we walked away in opposite directions. I never saw her again. Looking back now, 8 months after I walked out, I've learned some hard lessons about relationships. Respect is not just about big gestures or saying I love you. It is about daily actions. It is about valuing your partner's comfort and opinions. When someone tells you to leave, believe them. Do not wait for them to say it again. I stayed patient for months, hoping Amanda would see reason. But patience without boundaries is just permission to be walked over. Family is important, but in a marriage, your spouse has to come first. Amanda forgot that. Her mother became the priority, and I became the inconvenience. I do not resent Linda for needing help. I resent how they both disrespected my home and my role as a husband. Walking away from someone you love is brutal. But staying in a situation where you are not valued, that is worse. I used to think compromise meant giving in. Now I know it means both people meeting in the middle. Amanda wanted me to give up everything, while she gave up nothing. That is not compromise. That is surrender. People ask me if I regret how I handled it. The answer is no. I followed the law. I gave 30 days' notice as required. I did not steal anything, destroy any property, or hurt anyone physically. I simply removed myself and my resources from a situation where I was not appreciated. If that makes me the villain in her story, I can live with that. Today, I live in a place that is mine. It is small, but it is peaceful. No one tells me what to do or criticizes my choices. I sleep better. I smile more. I do not miss the constant tension. I have started dating again, taking it slow, and learning what I really want in a partner. I am building a life that feels authentic to who I am not, who someone else needed me to be. To anyone listening who feels unappreciated in their relationship, I want you to hear this. Your voice matters. Your comfort matters. Your home should be your sanctuary, not your prison. Do not let anyone make you feel selfish for setting boundaries. If they cannot respect you in your own space, they do not deserve to be there. And remember, when someone gives you an ultimatum, you have every right to choose the option they did not expect. Amanda told me to leave if I did not like her mother living there. So I left. And I took the home with me. I do not know where she and Linda ended up long term, and honestly, it is no longer my concern. I hope they learned something from this. I know I did. Sometimes the best response to disrespect is not an argument, it is action. And that action changed my life. So let me ask you, what would you have done in my situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story made you think about your own boundaries and relationships, hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more real stories about standing up for yourself. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes people need to know it is okay to walk away from situations that do not serve them. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gave you something to think about. Remember, respect yourself enough to remove yourself from anything that no longer grows you or makes you happy. Take care of yourselves out there.